guys, Ben from Zestek here. Today we're going to be installing an SCX racing steering wheel hub in a BMW F80. So this is going to be a full in-depth comprehensive guide of how you can do this yourself at home. In front of me are all the tools you're going to need for the install. Starting off, you're going to need a ratchet and a 10mm to take off the negative battery cable. Then, to take off the airbag, you're going to need some kind of pry tool, in this case a flathead screwdriver. Moving on to that, you're going to have to remove the steering wheel, and that's a 16mm bolt. You're going to need a 16mm socket along with some kind of removal tool. That could be a ratchet, but in our case, we're going to use this impact gun. And then to reinstall our boss kit, you're going to need to torque that bolt down to spec, and in that case, always use a torque wrench. It's the correct way to do it. So let's jump into it and get started. First, you want to remove the battery cover from the rear trunk of the F80. There's a little plastic screw that you have to twist with your hand, and then it will pop right out. Then, you need to remove the 10mm nut holding on the battery terminal. Pull it off and put it to the side. Moving into the interior, there will be two holes on either side of the steering wheel that have retaining clips for the airbag. Use the flat blade screwdriver to pop it off. Then, pull the airbag out. Once the airbag is removed, you'll see the little wire holding it in. It'll be attached to the clock spring. Take that same screwdriver and press in on the tab and pull the connector out. You can see here the little tab you must push down. Next, you'll remove the other wire from the clock spring. It has a little tab and you can pull it out very simply. This particular F80 has a heated steering wheel, which is why this extra connector will be here. Not all F80s will have this connector, but it's removed the same way. Next, take your impact gun and or large ratchet and loosen the center bolt. The steering wheel will slide off very easily after this. Be sure your wheels are straight before removing your steering wheel to maintain your alignment. Included with your SCX will be the wiring harness for your F80. You can grab that from the box and plug it in as shown. There will be two connectors resembling the ones you removed. Next, grab your boss kit and install it onto the steering hub. You want the center bolt for the steering wheel to be facing upwards. When you route your wiring harness through, be sure it does not snag on anything. Then, grab the center bolt and screw it back in. Always start these threads by hand. The next step is torquing the center bolt. You can hold the hub with your hands and with a friend and be able to torque it. In this case, we're installing a 6-bolt steering wheel we had laying around to use as leverage to get the correct torque number. The torque spec for an F80 is 62 Nm or 48 foot-pounds. Always make sure your steering wheel bolts are torqued to spec. It's a very important bolt and it cannot come loose. If you did install a wheel to help hold it in place, remove that now. Moving over to the bench, you remove the back of the quick release from the SCX unit. You can then grab your SCX adapter and pull it out of its bag. In the hardware bag, there will be 3 bolts included. These bolts will go in the back of the adapter. When you insert the adapter into the rear of the quick release, make sure to connect the 6-pin connector to the small connector on the back of the adapter. When setting it in the quick release, also make sure the wires are not jammed up and are inserted smoothly. Take the 3 bolts and the included Allen key to tighten them and insert them into the holes on the adapter. When you tighten these, they only need to be snug, not too tight. Hopping back in the car, you can connect the 2 wiring harness plugs that are on the lock spring into the back of the quick release adapter. Once those are plugged in, you can put the quick release base onto the boss kit. Make sure that the wires are not jumbled or tangled when installing this piece. Take the included bolts and thread them into the boss kit. You want the quick release adapter rounded edges to be facing upwards when you do this. Make sure all these bolts are snugged very tight. Then go back into the trunk and reinstall the negative battery terminal. Make sure to tighten with a 10mm ratchet till it's snug. Then you can reinsert the battery cover and twist the plastic tab to lock it in place. Going back into the interior, you can now plug your SCX in and see it light up. It will still need to be programmed with the Zestek workstation, but for now, every button will function as a horn. Moving back to the bench, you now will install the steering wheel on the SCX unit. First, remove the 6 bolts that are in the SCX. These are the bolts that connect the hub to the quick release adapter. When removing the steering wheel horn plate and the 6 bolts, you may notice the quick release will separate from the SCX. Be sure that the wiring between the quick release and the hub unit does not get tangled when this is happening. Place your wheel of choice, in this case, our carbon fiber wheel, and tighten the 6 bolts back in the hub. Making sure that the hub, the quick release, and the steering wheel are all aligned. Next, take the hub over to your laptop, download the Zestek workstation, and program it to your liking. Also, don't forget to plug in your vehicle unit to your OBD. This will allow the shift lights to display on the hub.